Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're really focusing on, well, a pretty big shift happening in higher education and workforce training. It's quite significant. We're talking about what one major player, EON Reality, is calling the third way of learning.
Right, the third way.
And our mission for you listening in is to really pull out the core ideas here. Understand this new model and maybe more importantly, how it's trying to fix some serious cracks appearing in traditional education.
Yeah, the system's under strain.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This isn't just putting lectures online again. It feels like they're aiming for a much deeper re-engineering, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And we really have to start with why. What's driving this? The sources we looked at are super clear on this. They identify basically three big interlocking problems pushing for these kinds of solutions.
Okay, what are they?
First up, it's faculty overload. I mean, professors are just drowning. They're spending crippling amounts of time. We're talking hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours on repetitive stuff.
Like grading.
Exactly. Grading, creating content from scratch, and maybe the most painful one, pulling together those huge accreditation binders. It's just unsustainable.
Yeah, the faculty burnout, you hear about it all the time. It's intense. But the second issue, you mentioned trust that feels almost, well, existential right now. How are they tackling the integrity challenges?
Well, it's the rise of sophisticated AI, isn't it? The reality is, those traditional text-based essays, the take-home assignments, they're becoming really unreliable as proof of what a student actually knows.
Because anyone could have written it, or an AI could have.
Precisely. And if you can't trust the assessment, you can't really verify the learning. The whole system of credentials starts to wobble. It really breaks down.
Okay, so overload, integrity. What's the third piece?
So let's say you manage to get through, you graduate despite all that. Then you hit the third problem, career misalignment.
Ah, the skills gap.
Right. The traditional way universities update syllabi is just too slow. It often lags behind what the job market actually needs by years. So graduates end up with degrees based on, frankly, outdated knowledge. They're underprepared.
Leads to that big disconnect between education and employment.
Okay, so if you think about traditional face-to-face teaching as the first way, and then purely online, like asynchronous video lectures, as the second, this third way tries to merge the best of both.
How so?
It aims for the rigor you get in person, but with the flexibility of online. But, and this is key, it boosts it all with three big accelerators. XR immersion.
Virtual reality, augmented reality.
Exactly. Plus AI mentorship and, crucially, verified measurable outcome tracking. The whole design is really about protecting academic quality, but also radically improving job relevance and, importantly, freeing up that faculty time we talked about.
Okay, that makes sense conceptually. Let's unpack this a bit more, because EON Reality hasn't just thrown out one solution. They've got three options, structured like a kind of adoption ladder.
Yeah, that's quite strategic.
Seems smart, right? Let's institutions maybe dip their toes in, start small, prove it works, and then scale up if they want. So we need to figure out what really separates the generic, custom, and premium versions.
Yeah, it's really important to see them as stages, because different schools have vastly different budgets, different tech capabilities, different levels of bureaucracy to fight through.
Right. Okay, let's start at the beginning then. The virtual campus generic option. What's the focus there?
Speed and scale. Pure speed and immediate scale. It's basically a turnkey launchpad.
Turnkey meaning?
Meaning it's ready to go. The sources say you get instant access to over 9,000 pre-built courses already done. And these aren't just texts. They come with XR simulations, built-in integrated AI tutors. The works.
Wow, 9,000 courses. That's a lot of content right out of the box.
It is. And they're pitched as accreditation-ready modules, deployable pretty much immediately. So for a school that needs a really rapid, low-barrier way in, the generic option lets them start students on these AI-driven adaptive learning paths right away. No need to hire a massive team of instructional designers first.
Solves that content creation bottleneck almost overnight.
Exactly. That speed to market is the big value proposition there.
Okay, moving up the ladder then. Virtual campus custom. What changes here?
This one's more of a blended approach. It's really designed for universities that, want that speed, but also want to keep more control. They want differentiation. They want to own their content academically.
So how does that work? Did they build everything themselves?
Not exactly. It blends EON's huge library, that 9,000 plus course base, with the institution's own unique syllabi and faculty content. So you get the best of both worlds.
Interesting. And how do faculty stay in control?
This is where a key feature comes in. Approved to deploy workflows. So faculty aren't necessarily building every lesson from scratch.
Yeah.
The AI can generate draft lessons based on the syllabus, and then the faculty review, maybe tweak it, adapt it, and ultimately they have to approve it before it goes live. It keeps that academic oversight, that quality control, but cuts out a lot of the initial grunt work.
Okay, that makes sense. And this level custom is also where they start swapping out those iffy text assignments, right?
Yes. This is the first level where simulation-based assessments really come into play to replace those easily cheatable text assignments.
And this brings us to something really critical you mentioned earlier, the brainy mentors.
Yeah.
These AI guides. They help students through oral defenses, practice simulations, primarily to cut faculty grading time. Now, hang on. Isn't that just swapping one problem for another? Like, first it was AI writing the essays, now it's AI assessing the competence. How do you ensure quality there? How do you trust the AI's judgment?
That's a really important question. And the source material suggests it's maybe less about the AI giving the final grade and more about the AI acting as like a tireless practice coach and an initial filter.
Okay. How does that work practically?
The AI can run the student through drills, simulations, ask probing questions for an oral defense, capture all that interaction. The faculty member's role then shifts. Instead of spending hours reading maybe hundreds of similar essays,
Right, the repetitive part.
they review the evidence generated by that AI mentor and student interaction. Things like the simulation logs, the recording of the oral defense, maybe specific artifacts the student created in the simulation. The AI provides the scale for practice and initial assessment, but the human faculty provides the final critical validation based on that concrete evidence.
Okay, so the AI gathers the evidence, the faculty judges the evidence. That distinction-shifting faculty from being the primary grader to being the critical evidence reviewer that feels pretty significant. It potentially restores trust in the outcome.
Exactly. It aims to restore that trust.
All right, let's talk about the top tier then. Virtual campus, premium compass. This sounds like the all-in package. Full systemic transformation.
That's how it's positioned, yeah. The focus here is really heavy on localization, embedding the institution deep into its regional economy, and really maximizing measurable student ROI, return on investment.
And this is where some of the really forward-looking features seem to live.
Definitely, especially around keeping the curriculum relevant to the job market. The most, I think, innovative feature here is called Syllabus Sync.
Syllabus Sync, what does it do?
It doesn't just review syllabi once a year, which honestly would already be better than average for many places. It actually updates them quarterly. Quarterly. Based on live, dynamic labor market data, what skills are actually in demand right now in that region.
Wow, quarterly updates. That's incredibly fast compared to the usual 3 to 5 year cycle. But hang on, practically speaking, isn't that a huge lift? Politically, bureaucratically, how do you get faculty committees, internal reviewers, everyone to approve curriculum changes that often?
Well, that connects right back to solving the faculty overload problem first. Remember that. The reason traditional curriculum updates often take so long isn't just about academic debate. It's often the sheer mountain of paperwork, the documentation, the accreditation compliance needed for every single tiny change.
The binder compilation nightmare.
Exactly. So by offering automated services specifically, auto-generation of that required accreditation evidence, the premium package aims to remove that primary bureaucratic bottleneck.
If the paperwork burden basically disappears.
Then faculty can focus just on the academic merits of the change itself.
Precisely. Suddenly, quarterly updates might actually seem feasible, not completely insane.
That's a clever way to grease the wheels. Okay, what else is unique to premium? You mentioned a couple of other things. Career Compass.
Yeah, Career Compass directly maps the student's progress, the skills they're demonstrating in the platform, directly to specific job roles and professional certifications out in the real world. Makes the pathway much clearer.
And the other one was Wealth Weaver modules. Sounds intriguing. It does, doesn't it? Wealth Weavers is designed specifically to enable entrepreneurship, to help students actually generate income, maybe even start their own businesses, not just prepare for a traditional job.
So moving beyond just employability to actual wealth creation.
That seems to be the goal. And to make sure that career mapping isn't just theoretical, Premium also includes employer-led micro-internships built right into the platform itself. Seamless integration with real companies.
Okay, so this is all pretty ambitious tech. How do they actually get this implemented in a university without causing total chaos? The sources mentioned a specific rollout plan.
Yes, a faculty-first implementation plan. The idea is to avoid a massive, complex, big bang rollout that paralyzes everyone. Instead, it's phased, designed to deliver quick wins, especially for the faculty.
Get that buy-in early.
Exactly. So phase one is quick, like 0 to 90 days, a rapid pilot. You start small, maybe just 2 or 3 courses.
Okay.
And you immediately target high-impact changes, like swapping out those risky essay tests for the verifiable oral or simulation assessments we talked about.
And this is where faculty start to feel the benefit right away, the workload reduction.
Absolutely. And crucially, this is where the platform starts to auto-generate accreditation evidence from day one.
Ah, the magic bullet for administrators.
Pretty much. I mean, think about it. Instead of faculty spending, hundreds, maybe thousands of hours manually compiling binders for reviewers every few years, the data just gets generated automatically in real time as the course is run. That's immediate provable time savings. Huge validation right there.
Okay, that's a strong start. What's phase 2?
Phase two is about expanding maybe over 3 to 6 months, grow the footprint to maybe 15 or 20 courses. And this is where you activate those higher tier premium features like the Syllabus Sync and the Career Compass.
And integrate the micro-internships.
Right. Start connecting students with employers directly within the platform.
And then phase 3.
Phase three, roughly 6 to 18 months out, is the full institution-wide rollout. This is where they'd fully launch those Wealth Weaver entrepreneurship modules. And interestingly, this is also where they start talking about external monetization.
Monetization. How?
Using those newly established XR training hubs,
Mhm.
the physical labs maybe, to offer training programs to the local community or corporations, turning a cost center potentially into a revenue stream.
Interesting angle. Okay, let's make this more concrete. The sources gave some examples of how this actually looks in different academic areas, right? Because it's easy to think this is just for, like, engineering.
Yeah, and while technical fields are definitely a strong fit, the examples show it's much broader. In engineering and manufacturing, obviously, you use the XR labs for things like critical equipment training, safety protocols, stuff you can't risk doing wrong the first time.
And building portfolios.
Exactly. Building employer-verified skill portfolios. They can literally prove they operated the virtual machinery safely before they even step onto a real factory floor.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about healthcare?
For healthcare and TVET, technical and vocational education and training, the huge value is practicing procedures without risk. Students use simulations for clinical tasks again and again until they master them. Their proof of competence then becomes a blend of those sim logs, maybe oral defenses explaining their actions, and artifacts from micro-internships.
So you're proving competence through doing it safely, not just remembering facts for a test.
Precisely. But it's not just technical fields, even in humanities and social sciences, where, let's be honest, the grading workload from traditional essays can be immense.
Definitely.
They specifically leverage things like oral defenses, case study simulations, interactive role-playing scenarios. These aren't just more engaging, they're designed specifically to combat the academic integrity issues and reduce that crushing grading burden. It turns a static paper into a dynamic, observable, verifiable performance.
That's a key shift for those disciplines. And lastly, business.
For business and entrepreneurship, you've got those persistent brainy mentors. They can assist with really complex tasks like market analysis, practicing investor pitches, developing a business plan, venture creation. And it's all validated through the platform's own AI-powered incubator. It gives a structured, data-driven path to maybe actually starting something real.
Okay. So if we pull all this together, connect it back to those initial 3 big problems, the before and after seems pretty stark based on the source materials comparison.
Yeah, the impact summary really clarifies the transformation they're aiming for.
Let's just quickly recap those impacts. On faculty workload, before, it was endless manual content creation, thousands of grading hours. Now, even the basic generic option gives you that huge library of 9,000 plus courses and auto-grading help via brainy mentors. And premium. It automates the accredited evidence entirely. That's a massive liberation of faculty time.
Huge. Then on assessment integrity, the shift is really fundamental. You move away from text that's easily faked or plagiarized towards simulation-based tests, verifiable oral defenses recorded on the platform, artifacts generated during required activities. Integrity is theoretically restored because you actually have to do the work in an immersive, tracked environment. You can't fake doing.
Right. And finally, curriculum relevance. The old way, updates every 3-5 years, sometimes longer, just too slow. Premium Syllabus Sync aims to keep pace with the economy, updating every quarter using live labor market data.
So the whole transformation, it really seems focused on tangible ROI, return on investment for the student, directly linking their education to actual jobs in their region, or even helping them create their own jobs via those Wealth Weaver modules. It's not just digitizing what existed, it's aiming for a systemic overhaul focused squarely on employability and economic outcomes.
Okay. So core takeaways for you listening.
Mm.
Really understanding why this third way is emerging, seeing that flexible adoption ladder from generic up to the premium compass, and grasping that fundamental shift from passive, text-based learning toward active, immersive, and crucially outcome-verified knowledge transfer.
And maybe here's that final provocative thought. Picking up on that phase 3 detail, we mentioned the monetization piece.
Oh, yes.
The source explicitly talks about institutions potentially monetizing these new XR hubs, selling training back to the community, to local businesses. So the question for you to mull over is this. If this model really takes off, if it scales, does this third way of learning start to fundamentally shift universities? Do they move from being purely cost-heavy educational centers towards becoming powerful, maybe even self-sustaining regional economic hubs that actively generate revenue by providing skills training?
Hmm. From cost center to revenue generator and economic engine, that's a fascinating angle to consider as these kinds of systems potentially scale globally.
Definitely something to think about.
And speaking of global, it's worth noting these virtual campus solutions, generic, custom, and premium campus, are presented as available worldwide, supporting all the necessary devices through something called EON Universal. So, a pretty comprehensive attempt to address higher education's current pressure points.